bring in Notah Begay. Notah, how are you this morning?
Doing great. Yeah, Tigers went over through 4 holes. Had a little hiccup on the 11th hole, difficult par 3, but seems to have somewhat of a steady round going so far.
Why do you think he's playing?
I think he's just like a lot of athletes. We're not really the smartest people all the time. We make bad choices, and I mean, there's still a part of him that's a kid that we all have that just they want to play, and I don't think that's more from the competitive side. And from the physical side, there's a lot of question marks surrounding the nature of the injury. I know for a fact, having talked to him yesterday and having watched him play 5 or 6 holes in his practice round, that there is no residual anything from the injury that's really holding him back. As far as related to the original disc injury that he had, the discectomy a few months ago. So I think that it was more just he knocked his hip a little bit out of joint, out of socket, and got it popped back in, and he's ready to go.
My feeling is that this isn't about winning the PGA, that he would like to compete. I think it's about showing Tom Watson, the Ryder Cup captain, that he's healthy enough, that he can finish 4 rounds if he makes the cut. And I think that's a bigger picture here. That's more of the immediate picture than it is thinking he can win the PGA Championship. Is that fair to assess it that way?
Yeah, Dan, I think you hit the nail on the head. A lot of this has to do with the Ryder Cup, and as poor of a record as Tiger has in the team component of the Ryder Cup, he's a wonderful singles player, but he has really come to appreciate those experiences, those team experiences, the Ryder Cup and the President's Cup, because at every point an athlete comes to terms with the fact that they're closer to the end of their career than they are at the beginning, and that's exactly where Tiger Woods is at. He has a renewed interest in playing on those teams, and hopefully that if he's able to make that team, he's able to play a little bit better than he has historically speaking. But it puts the captain in a tough spot if he goes out there and makes a cut. And unfortunately, they have to make their choices after this week, whereas the European team has another 4 weeks to let the players sort of develop and get closer, which I think is a better time frame to assess where different players are at.
If the Ryder Cup, if it wasn't a Ryder Cup year, do you think Tiger would be playing in the PGA?
I don't think so. If it wasn't a Ryder Cup year, and if the Ryder Cup was in 3 weeks, I don't think he'd be playing. But it's 6 or 7 weeks away, so it's still a ways off, and he still has time to. I mean, that's a long time to be able to recoup back and get some competitive reps under his belt and be able to get him into some sort of playing fashion, because from what I saw yesterday, he's hitting a lot of quality shots.
Yeah, he's got to keep the driver out of his hands.
It's like holding a rattlesnake, Dan. The thing just wants to.
If you were
just jumps and bites him.
No, if you were his caddy, would you just take the driver out of the bag? Just say, you know what, I'm going to leave it over here. We don't need it today.
I think I'd have to do the what Cheech Marin did to Tin Cup, and just take it out and snap it in two.
Break it in half. Golf Channel will provide wraparound news coverage before and after tournament play. PGA Championship Thursday through Sunday, live for the PGA Championship, featuring on-site analysis, highlights, interviews, and compelling features. We're talking to Notah Begay of the Golf Channel. Here's one more question I had with Tiger. Can Tiger actually start to swing like he's 38 instead of 22? Is he capable, mindset-wise, to know I'm 38 with all these surgeries instead of trying to swing like he did when, 15 years ago?
Well, I think two things have to happen. There has to be a maturity and understanding that, yes, he's not 22, and he doesn't have, and he's admitted himself to me, it sucks to get old. I mean, he blatantly told me that last week. But also he doesn't have the hip speed that he once had, and watching some of the older videos from his very first appearance in the Masters in 1995, his hip speed and his club head speed were extraordinary. And now he's got to do a couple things. I think he needs to refine his approach as far as his club head speed's concerned. It's closer to 120 than it is to 130. And then secondly, he's got to go out there and he's got to manage the golf courses better and not try and overpower them like we've been used to seeing over the years. And I think that's just going to take a little bit of perspective and saying, look, I don't have to win these tournaments by 6 or 7 shots. I can still win them by 1 or 2 shots if I just kind of play a little bit more methodically, a little bit more conservatively, and I think that'll allow him to sustain a higher level of play for a longer period of time, which bodes well for the major championship chase because Jack Nicklaus, after the age of 40, was able to win 3 more majors. Tiger's going to have to do a little bit better than that to just tie the record and a lot better than that to beat the record.
Final 30 seconds. Did you ever think you'd come to the point where somebody was actually Tiger-like and it wasn't Tiger, that we're looking at Rory McIlroy? Is he creeping into that Tiger 2000 type golfer?
Yeah, I don't think he's creeping. He's crept. I mean, he is not no longer a secret. I think a lot more people are going to find out who Rory McIlroy is because he has that extra gear and the mindset to go out there and take a stranglehold on these golf tournaments and really assert his dominance like he did at the Open Championship, leading from start to finish, but also being able to track players down like he did Sergio Garcia in the final round. He birdied 3 out of the first 4 holes and said, hey, you know what? I'm here. I'm in your hip pocket, and I'm not going anywhere. And Sergio didn't handle the pressure very well, and Rory goes on to win. So I think that being the 3rd youngest to achieve 3 legs of the Grand Slam puts him right into that discussion with Jack and Tiger. So we can't ignore that discussion anymore.
Have a great day, Notah. As always, thank you for your time.
You got it, Dan. Thanks.
That's Notah Begay.